UFC 303 takes place this Saturday, and these are my main card predictions. So starting off the main card, we've got a fight that, in my opinion, has kind of went under the radar during this whole 303 shenanigans going on with Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, and that is Ian Gary versus MVP. Obviously, after the press conference, it's kind of picking up a bit of steam now, this fight. Now, I'm going to just start off by saying this is going to be a stinker of a fight. Very boring to watch, in my opinion. I'm backing Ian Gary. Now, I feel like this fight is going to consist of a lot of feinting, leg kicking, and clinching. And I feel like Ian Gary is going to go into this fight not biting on MVP's feints. He's going to target the legs of MVP, which then later on in the fight will then stunt his in and out movement. And I feel like Ian Gary is going to try and implement what Jeff Neal implemented on Ian Gary. And I'm just picturing Ian Gary holding MVP against the cage for large portions of this fight, working wee like rabbit shots into the face, maybe attempting takedowns, maybe getting a takedown, letting MVP work back up to his feet. I feel like we're really going to see Ian Gary's grappling on display in this fight. I'm going Ian Gary by decision. If not Ian Gary by decision, MVP knocks him out in the first round. But I'm backing Ian Gary. Next up, why is this fight in the main card? Anybody know why is this fight on the main card? I'm waiting for Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chasson. Bueno Silva's going to win this by decision. I'm not wasting time talking about this. Next up, we have got Anthony Smith, Roman Dolidze. Now, this fight has just progressively gotten worse. Let's be honest. It was meant to be Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree, Jamal Hill, Carlos Ulberg, Anthony Smith, Carlos Ulberg. And now we've got Roman Dolidze, Anthony Smith. Now, this fight is at light heavyweight, obviously. Now, Anthony Smith is the more natural light heavyweight. Obviously, Roman Dolidze fights at middleweight. I actually don't know how this fight has kind of came about. But anyway, Anthony Smith has okay boxing, in my opinion. And I just don't rate Roman Dolidze's stand-up at all. I think he is a good grappler, but I don't think he's going to be that effective against Anthony Smith. Obviously, this isn't ideal circumstances for both guys, but I'm going to have to go for Anthony Smith, being the natural light heavyweight and the experience of Anthony Smith and his striking to get him through this fight with a decision win. Next up, co-main event, Brian Ortega, Diego Lopez. Great fight. Diego Lopez beats Brian Ortega by first round KO, in my opinion. Now, Brian Ortega, I picked Yair Rodriguez to beat him. I thought I was on my way to being correct after the first round, but then Yair Rodriguez just showed us that he has zero finishing ability. So Brian Ortega was then able to regroup. We know Brian Ortega is extremely tough and durable. We've seen that in the Volk fights, the Max fights. This guy can take a beating, and Brian Ortega was able to use his grappling in that fight against Yair Rodriguez to win by third round submission. Now, Diego Lopez, in my opinion, great striking, extremely explosive and powerful, and also has great grappling. Now, Brian Ortega, obviously, like I just said, has fought the more elite fighters, so that might be something to factor in here. Not that he's really beaten anybody too elite, really. Korean Zombie, Frankie Edgar, his best wins. But yeah, this is obviously a big jump up in the rankings for Diego Lopez. Although Lopez did fight Movsar Evloev on short notice and nearly beat him. So, is it? But no, I think Diego Lopez, like I said, dangerous on the feet, has great finishing ability as well. I feel like he's going to be able to hurt Brian Ortega in there early on. And I feel like he's just going to be able to put Brian Ortega out with ground and pound strikes. That's just my prediction, honestly. I feel like Brian Ortega is going to get smoked. On to the main event, Alex Pereira, Jiri Prochazka 2. Great fight. I just want to say, 303 since McGregor's been taken off has just gotten better, in my opinion anyway. This fight card has just gotten better. Now, both guys fought on 300. Pereira obviously came out of that fight a lot fresher than what Jiri did. Jiri took a beating off Rakic, but then was able to overcome that storm, showed his toughness in there, and was able to get Rakic out of there. Now, Pereira, I think, had broken toes after the Jamal Hill fight. Also was on a media tour in like Australia 2 weeks maybe ago. So he obviously wasn't in serious training camp. Now, I don't know Jiri, but Jiri Prochazka strikes me as a guy that is constantly in like fight camp mode, if that makes sense. I mean, after the fight, he said he was in like a dark room without food and water. I don't know why he does this, but it obviously works for the guy anyway. My only worry is Jiri Prohaska did take a bit of a beating in that fight. Has he fully recovered? Who knows? Now, Pereira in the first fight obviously was able to finish Jiri Prohaska. Early stoppage. Thankfully, Mark Goddard, who's on Pereira's payroll, isn't in this fight, isn't refereeing it, so that's a bonus. But yeah, Pereira done a good job of working the leg of Jiri Prohaska with a calf kick, which really does affect Jiri because Jiri has such an unorthodox style that relies a lot on his movement, in my opinion anyway. We've seen Jiri in the Rakic fight just show that he really hasn't improved on that at all, which isn't a good sign going into this. But I don't know. I backed him in the first fight. I'm backing him in the second fight. Jiri Prohaska. I feel like Jiri Prohaska, if he can make this fight a dog fight like he done against Rakic, he beats Pereira 9 times out of 10. Now, Jiri Prohaska's defense on the feet has a lot to be desired for, and that is not a good look against someone like Pereira. Now, I also feel like in this fight, Jiri Prohaska is going to go in there with a more grappling-heavy approach. Not that I feel like he's just going to go in there and just wrestle Pereira. I don't think that's going to happen at all, but I feel like he's going to implement the threat of the takedown more in this fight. Now, I don't think Pereira has that bad of a ground game either, in my opinion. Not that we've really seen it, but anytime the guy has been on the mat, he does a really good job of keeping himself safe. Am I picking Pereira? No, fuck it. I'm picking Jiri Prohaska. Jiri Prohaska to KO Alex Pereira inside 1 round. That's my predictions. Let me know yours in the comments below. And as always, like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you again in the next one.